Good morning. In case anyone can hear me, we'll get started in just a minute. All right. Good morning, everyone. It is 10 o'clock. I'm going to give folks about 30 more seconds, and then we are going to get started. Hello, everyone out there on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. All right. Let's get started. It's 10 o'clock. So good morning. Good morning from Boynton Hall. I'm here on our beautiful WPI campus to share our plans for fall. Here is the headline. Drum roll, please. We are planning to welcome you back to our campus. Today, we're also launching our new reopening website. There's a lot of information in our plan. It's all on the website, and most of the questions that you have can be answered there. But here's a short answer to the most complex question. How will we do this? The answer is together. For the past 3 months, we've developed our strategy and plans and made all decisions based on what I call our North Star, our guiding principles, which are to support the health, safety, and well-being of our community, to advance the education and career goals of our students, and to enable our faculty and staff, our researchers and educators and innovators to do the kind of work that our world needs now more than ever. Our plan for fall has been in the works essentially since COVID forced our campus to ramp down in-person operations in March. Our Coronavirus Emergency Response Team, or CERT, has met formally 38 times and has engaged dozens of experts on our campus and beyond. And this plan represents our best thinking about how to bring staff, faculty, and ultimately students back to campus with our North Star as a guide. It's benefited greatly from interactions we've had with literally thousands of members of our community, all of you, through town halls, through surveys, working groups, focus groups, through the questions you've asked us and that we've answered. Our reopening plan has been unanimously recommended by CERT to me and endorsed through a resolution of support from our Board of Trustees on Monday of this week. In reality, our reopening plan is already underway. We began the slow, deliberate, and careful process of bringing researchers, both faculty and graduate students, back to campus in late May. Now we have more than 60 research labs back reopened. We'll plan to phase more researchers and additional staff back to campus over the next month or so and welcome our even more faculty and finally students, all of you, back as we go through August. Now let's talk about our fall reopening plan. I'll share more details in the following areas: safety protocols, academics, residential and student life, and our faculty and staff. But let's start with our integrated approach to campus safety. These safety protocols are the key. They are the ticket to reopening. It's the only way we can. And by now we all know the drill. Things that we can all do to stop the spread of COVID-19. Stay home if you're sick or if you've been exposed to the virus. Self-monitor for symptoms. Wear face coverings. Keep your distance. Don't have large gatherings where people can't stay socially distant. Practice good hygiene. Do extra cleaning. All of these will be in place at WPI. And we've spent a lot of time thinking through each aspect of campus life and coming up with protocols and plans to accommodate the new normal. All members of our community will be required to follow these safety protocols, and we will all complete online training outlining our safety protocols and requirements. And after the training, we will all declare our agreement to follow the requirements in order to be able to come back to campus. Testing is another really important part of our safety strategy. Starting later in the summer, all members of our community, including students, will be required to be tested for COVID-19 before returning to campus or moving into their residence residence halls. And people who are on campus regularly will be tested at regular intervals thereafter, which could be as often as twice per week. We are in the process of contracting with the world-renowned Brode Institute, which is a joint venture of Harvard and MIT, to support our COVID testing of faculty, staff, and students at WPI. And frankly, we're so fortunate to be in Massachusetts, where we have the sort of medical infrastructure to support a testing program like this. We'll also help facilitate testing for any students, faculty, and staff who are symptomatic or the close contacts of someone who is. In addition to testing, every member of our campus community will conduct a daily self-assessment for COVID-like symptoms via an app before coming to campus or going to class. Even with all our work to minimize the spread, it's almost certain that at some point we will have positive cases in our community. I wish I could tell you we won't, but I don't think that's reasonable or realistic. And so the point is we have to be prepared for that, and we are. Anyone in our community who tests positive will need to be isolated. For faculty, staff, and some students, that would be at home. For residential students, it can be in one of WPI's more than 100 set-aside isolation beds, where they will be cared for by an expanded health staff and have food delivered and other needs taken care of. And while practicing our safety protocols like face coverings and distancing will reduce the numbers of close contacts that we all have, any member of our community who is a close contact with someone who's tested positive will be expected to quarantine, either at home or in their residence hall, again, under the guidance of our health professionals. We'll also have intensified cleaning protocols across campus in the fall, and spaces where someone who has tested positive has been recently will undergo additional specialized enhanced cleaning. We're making extra investments in medical support in the coming year, including increasing the size of our healthcare staff to support our safety protocols. In addition, we have established a medical advisory board to provide expertise and insight into the latest science and medical knowledge and advances, and provide advice to us as we manage the health challenges associated with COVID-19. And just to share with you who's on our medical advisory board, it's Dr. Michael Collins, who's the chancellor of the University of Massachusetts Medical School, Dr. Sandro Galea, who is the dean of the Boston University School of Public Health, Dr. Marnie Hall, WPI class of '97, also a PhD epidemiology researcher, formerly of the FDA, now in the private sector. Our own Dr. Jean King, who's the Dean of Arts and Sciences at WPI and is a neuroscientist and medical researcher. And finally, Dr. Rochelle Walensky, who is the Chief of the Division of Infectious Diseases at Mass General Hospital and a professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. So I hope you'll agree that we've taken safety very seriously and that our approach is really comprehensive. We'll all have roles to play in ensuring that we abide by our commitments to minimize the spread of the virus. We'll be putting both carrots and sticks in place around compliance with our safety protocols, lots of education and engagement, but also real consequences for violating our community compact. So I want to talk a little about academics now. We've already announced some tweaks to our academic calendar. Those are the same as what we recently announced. Classes will start on August 31st. We will have classes on Labor Day. We'll have a very short fall break, and we'll end classes on Friday, December 11th. Our academics will be guided by what we're calling WPI Tech Flex. And it's just what it says. It's flexible, with most classes offered with both in-person and remote components and options. The choice on how to take classes belongs to the students and can be for any reason. Classrooms will be de-densified and reorganized to allow safer, socially distanced learning, and all classrooms have been outfitted with technology to assist with remote learning. Our faculty have been doing amazing work ramping up on the highest quality pedagogy and skills for high quality teaching in blended learning environments to enable the flexibility that Tech Flex offers. Our priority for in-person academics will be for labs, projects, and discussion sections. And we're working to make needed adjustments to courses now with the goal of minimizing disruption to your course schedules. But of course, there could be some changes. And as always, we'll work with students individually to manage any needed adjustments. We do expect the majority of our graduate courses to be offered fully remotely for fall, with some students coming to campus for labs, discussion sections, and certainly for research. More information on all this, our Tech Flex approach to academics, will be forthcoming. And importantly, we're going to be asking you, our students, to let us know within a few weeks. You'll have some time to work through this, don't worry. But we are going to ask you to let us know your intentions, whether you're planning to come back to campus in person, to attend in person where possible, or if you prefer to do your learning remotely. Both are workable under Tech Flex. And again, the flexibility is yours. One last important announcement around academics. While we will be welcoming students back to campus, the global situation remains really challenging for COVID-19. And this has led us to a difficult decision, but one that aligns with essentially all other institutions of higher ed that we know of. There will be no project center travel in A and B terms this fall. For our community, I know this is heartbreaking to hear. It's heartbreaking for me. Our immersive global project experiences are so highly valued, such an important part of who we are at WPI. And so I know this is a tough one to hear, but I am so grateful and not at all surprised that our project center directors, our advisors, and our sponsors, they worked so hard last spring and figured out how to still do global projects even while not embedded in the countries where those projects were happening. And that will continue. Our collective goal is to make it possible for the majority of projects to continue with team members working with their project sponsors, still having that global impact, but doing so from campus or from their respective homes if that's their preference. So moving now to talk a little more about residential and student life. We're so proud of WPI's student and residential experience, and our professionals in this arena have been getting really creative to ensure a protected and positive student experience. We've de-densified housing, especially for first-year students. The vast majority of housing on campus will consist of singles and doubles, with resident advisor staff increased to increase support of our students. So grateful to our RA staff. First-year students will receive their housing assignments by around August 6th, and both first-year and returning students will have specific move-in dates and times starting about a week before classes begin. Early arrivals will not be possible. Move-in will be different than prior years, more spread out, for example, and each student will only be allowed to bring one helper for move-in. It's how we're de-densifying our move-in experience. We will have some limits on the residence halls. Common areas will be closed, for example, and bathrooms will have occupancy caps and specific instructions for use. We'll give you more information on all of that. We'll have enhanced cleaning and different kinds of schedules. For dining, we'll also be de-densified. We'll be using a reservation system, and we'll be de-densifying seating for in-person dining, just like at your local restaurant. We'll also have online ordering and takeout options. Additionally, residential meal plans will work in more locations across the campus, and we're going to open additional locations for meals, like the Goat's Head will be open for 3 meals a day. Fraternity and sorority houses, as well as off-campus residents, will have access to a housing and dining checklist, so their policies and procedures are aligned with the residential campus. This will include cleaning and hygiene protocols, dining guidance, rules about gatherings, and details on social distancing measures. We're also making adjustments to events, clubs, and athletics. And I know you want details, but I'm sorry to say we still don't have all the answers. For varsity athletics, for example, I know people really want to know the answer here. We're working with our league, the new MAC, and with the NCAA on guidelines for practices and competitions that could enable a modified fall athletics experience. That work is continuing, but I can't give you any guarantees today. As we know more in the coming weeks, we'll share that information with you, I promise. A little bit about our faculty and staff who are so dedicated. They are here to serve you, our students, to serve our community. We are working with them to ensure they can safely do their work while advancing WPI's educational mission. Our plans include the ability for them to continue working from home for those who can do their work effectively while remote, flexibility for those with childcare challenges, and accommodation for those faculty and staff with high risk factors. As I close, I have a few requests for you to think about. So first, I know you have lots of questions, and we have created an extensive website with the answers that we have today. And we will be updating it regularly as more answers come into view, but there's a lot of stuff that's already there. So please check the site and check back frequently. We're going to be sending out in literally minutes a message to you that has the link embedded, and also you can get to it from the WPI homepage. It's going to be coming to you any minute. So please check the website first before you send us an email with your questions. Otherwise, we're just going to be overwhelmed. I want you to please take some time to digest what I've told you today, but more importantly, go to the website and digest all of this information about our fall reopening plans. If you do need to send us a question, please use wearewpi@wpi.edu. So you can use that as an email to submit a question. But again, check that website first. Please try and consume that information first. And then if you still have questions, you can certainly send them to us. But here, I'm just going to ask everybody to listen for 1 minute here as you're thinking about your questions. Our team has really worked their tails off to get us to this point. I have ordered them to take the long weekend off starting tomorrow. So that's starting tomorrow, July 2nd. So we will answer questions, but we're going to do that starting next week when we're all back. So please be patient with us. This team needs and very much deserves our support, and they deserve some rest too. So they're going to be taking a few days. We will be back in touch next week, and we'll probably start having some Q&A sessions as well as we get back on the other side of the holiday. So for our students, we do need to know where you are this summer and your plans for fall. So on the website and in the message are a link to a survey. We want you to go and again, consume all the information on the site, learn more, consider your options, think about it, and then let us know your plans. We'll need to know by July 26th, so you have some time here. You've got a few weeks to really think it through. Sooner if you can. If you already know, definitely let us know right away. We need to plan and we need your input to do so. Finally, I'm going to return to where I began. Bringing our WPI family together this fall means that we all need to do our part. It's the only way. So we're asking for your pledge to work together to stay together. Every member of our community will need to take what we're calling the Tech Together Pledge. It'll be highly visible across the campus. It's a promise, a commitment, and a signal to your faculty, to your friends, and even to your parents that you take seriously the need to work together, to stay together. This is all about keeping us safe. One last and final thing. As you can tell, bringing a community together in the midst of a pandemic requires very careful planning and orchestration. We have worked really diligently. Our CERT team deserves huge kudos here. We've really worked to leave no stone unturned so that we are as ready as we can be for the fall. We're still working some details, and we'll be doing that throughout the summer and into the fall, but we are working to be as ready as we can be. And so while we will be ready to welcome you back, we must also be honest and recognize that things could change between now and late August. So we will also be ready to adjust based on factors that are both within our control and outside our control. This includes things like shifting state or city guidelines. The state of Massachusetts needs to be in phase 3 of its reopening, for example. I'm hopeful that they will be, but they aren't just yet, but by the end of August, they'll need to be. We'll be having to watch trending public health measures. Right now, outside of New England, those trends are not great. We've got to keep our eye on that. Testing protocols and results early, making sure that we really do have our testing plan in place, that we've got enough personal protective equipment and cleaning supplies on the campus. We're looking good there, but we've got to keep our eye on those supply chains. Critically importantly, it will depend on us getting really confident that we as a community are willing and able to work together to keep the campus open while working to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, that we're all taking seriously the safety protocols that will be required. So we will reaffirm our decision at the beginning of August and again in mid-August, and be in communication with you all along the way. So we're go for launch right now in true NASA geek fashion, but we will be asking ourselves throughout the summer, are we still go for launch? This fall will be a new normal for WPI. And because we are WPI, I know we can do this together. So take care, look for our message that should be coming out right around now, and check our reopening website, and we'll talk to you after the holiday weekend. Again, WPI is excited to welcome you back to campus in the fall. We look forward to seeing you and doing so safely. Thanks, everyone. Have a great holiday weekend. Bye-bye.